reaffirming, reaffirming that punk can be like owned by the colour. Yeah, because it's almost like it's being taken away if you don't feel completely comfortable in like a very white, male-dominated punk space. So that's like, yeah. So I find the way being used here is quite interesting because some people would argue about how we use the word decolonisation. Yeah.
I think that there are, so we can't talk about decolonisation, I think, without talking about the empire and without talking very specifically about the empire this country sat upon. And I mean, the fact they used to boast about the fact that the sun at one point never set in British Empire. And I think there are three things that actually are really important to remember and kind of, I try to think of decolonisation as like a process of telling a truth-telling in the face of a whole load of lies that we've actually been told. So I think we need to constantly dispel the lie that the colonial project didn't happen, because they would very much like to forget about it and allow that kind to slip back into history. And when that doesn't work, they often tell another lie, which is that it was a good thing. And that's the second lie that we have to be constantly fighting back against, because the creation of railways and hospitals isn't a kind of, I don't know, panacea to all of the horrific bullshit that empire was. And the last lie is that it ended, I think. We have to talk about the fact that the empire never ended, and because those state institutions became corporations that continue to colonize regions of the world. So yeah, that's how I try to think about decolonization.
In what context?
Just very complicated.
I was thinking that I rarely use the word decolonize. I kind of feel like this is one of the issues in activism in itself, and that like even when we become part of it, that we adopt phrases and terms that they do hold like very deep meaning, but they are so complex that it is quite alienating to people outside to understand what it is, especially when we all have our own opinions on what it means. Like simply for me, I guess it would just be unlearning white supremacy. Like in the context of Decolonise Festival, I've been to all of the fundraisers, and like for me to be a part of those fundraisers, it like meant like knowing that I have every right to push myself to the front to see some black and brown performers, and the fact that I have the right to question why I was the only person to win, the only black person to win during one of the raffle events, and like questioning why like we need to have one of these events for black and brown people that is decolonising, that's like simply just unlearning white supremacy, acknowledging that I have a right to be in a space, acknowledging that white people have a right, it's their job to make sure that I am safe in a space, because there is a reason why we're not existing, I guess.
I don't use the word I don't use the colonize that often. I think for me, and it's something I'm learning, because I have internalized so much of obviously these white supremacy. I have internalized that a lot. And for example, you read history books, and most of the time it's looked at from Eurocentric. It's from a Eurocentric frame of reference. You internalize that, and you think okay, it's only Europeans that contributed to civilization, and that is obviously that's not true. And for me, it's about learning that, and of course, you can't. It's very hard to get that from from standard education. I mean, I have to go out and do my research and understand that people from different parts of the world have made contributions to this civilization. It's just not all. It's just not all Europeans. I mean, for example, take the so-called Industrial Revolution. I mean, that was done on the back of Chinese innovation. I mean, so it wasn't. But people had believed that that the Industrial Revolution was something that Europeans came up with and were successful at it. Or take, for example, algebra, mathematics. It wasn't Europeans that came up with it. So what I'm trying to say is that, I guess for me, and also just to elaborate on what you said, it's about just learning the truth, and everyone, and understand that it's not just only Europeans that have played their part in contributing to civilization. And I think that definitely plays a part in undoing the internalized white supremacy. Because I'm not going to lie, I have internalized it. Yeah.
In kind of the context of this work, I think the term Wretched of the Year is actually quite an important one in this conversation. I'm looking at you. Yeah, so what kind of conversation happened when you all decided to call your collective Wretched of the Year? Is that term specific?
No, it's okay. I think it's just, it's really like go with decolonize. We just keep saying what you're saying and what you're saying. It's just, you can decolonize freaking everything. I learned that word for a very young age, like a very young age. And it come back to me again 10, 12 years ago when Evo Morales in Bolivia was elected and just, created Ministry of Decolonization and, those kind of things. Oh my God, it's happening! So you basically decolonize everything. It's just learning and, learning about the true daily, everything, like food, yourself, the way you act, the way you answer, the way you raise your kids, the movement, politics, economics, education, and your own movement in Wretched of the Year. You can decolonize your own movement, and that's what happened in Wretched of the Year. All of this I realized personally, very quickly, that I was invited to all these NGO meetings and all these things. Maybe in the third or the fifth meeting, and I was like, wait, which part I'm gonna organize? I wanna make decisions. I know more. My grandma is up there in the mountain, not your grandma. So yeah, it came very quickly that wasn't my experience at all. Being a token and being a person of color, an indigenous person, a black person it happens so quickly. You don't realize. You just don't realize because they're so nice to you. And they go like, yeah, you can have this now. I was like, oh my God, they're so shiny. You have resources. Oh my God. So I think that's what happened for Wretched of the Year. At the beginning, we didn't have that name. At the beginning, we just, a bunch of, people of color, indigenous people, black people, the people from the global south, indigenous from the global north. I was like, yeah, we want to do something because, I don't like this, I don't like that. I was like, oh, let's organize that. But it was because we didn't find a place. We didn't have a space, our own space. And that thing constantly people telling you, no, you guys cannot organize. No, you cannot. But then again, it's that cheap that I was working that cheap, mentally, I'm not enough, I'm not good, I'm always like that. It takes me a very long time to talk. I would have, oh, it's just because of that, because I've been telling, someone has been telling me all my life that I cannot do it. The same way that someone's been telling me, telling my mom and my grandma, and so on and so on. So that's why, we started with Wretched of the Year, and it happened by accident, to be honest. We didn't realize that we wanted to have Wretched of the Year. It just happened because we need a space. That's all. And we were brave enough all together to do it. Okay, so if we haven't had the people who was involved in that moment, it was just like magic. It just happened. That's it.
The subject of NGOs, I think, is quite a loaded one when it comes to
Yeah, I think the problem is that you don't really, overall, it doesn't seem like NGOs have a very good record. I mean, take for example Haiti. Haiti has the highest concentration of NGOs per head, but yeah, it's one of the poorest countries in the world. What the hell is going on? And the thing about NGOs, they're by and large financed directly or indirectly by big business or by very rich people, using it as a vehicle to maybe, soothe their guilty conscience, stealing so much. But so the problem is that when you have NGOs, when they're backed by big business and multi-millionaires, they tend to be very conservative, and so they'll act in a very limited framework. They're not going to push the boundaries too much, because they want to keep the funds flowing. Now, what happens is that then they start undermining like real, like genuine, direct resistance, against any form of capitalist oppression. I mean, sometimes they could like channel all that genuine anger and resistance towards a political party apparatus, like what happens in the US. You find a lot of NGOs, they infiltrate resistant movements and try to channel them to the Democratic party apparatus. And honestly, that's where direct movements die. I mean, once it gets there. And there's also the part that they play in neocolonialism. I mean, they work hand in hand. I mean, there are just too many examples. Like Venezuela in 2002, they worked with the CIA and the U.S. government trying to unseat Chavez. Obviously, that wasn't successful, and sometimes they try to make sure the ground is fertile for more capitalist exploitation and maybe agribusiness and sweatshop, for example. And then also another example is if you go to Southeast Asia, it was NGOs that came up with the idea of microfinance. Now, of course, you Google microfinance, most of the time they'll say it's a success, it's been a success for a lot of peasant farmers. What people don't know that microfinance it's been a massive disaster. I mean, you have so many cases of peasant farmers having to sell their organs to try to pay off the ridiculous interest rates on those loans. So I don't get it. I mean, I'm not, and it also seems like it seems like a bit of a career path, some sort of like a bourgeois career path for activists as well. So I'm not. The thing is, overall, I mean, I'm not too comfortable. I don't really have a very good view of NGOs, okay, but maybe there are a few good ones out there. But I think when it comes to NGOs, one really needs to proceed with caution. And if we're going to work with the NGO, we have to make sure that we are autonomous and we're not the genuine anger and resistance that we're trying to mount against any form of capitalist exploitation is there, and that we don't let ourselves get sucked in. We don't let that level of resistance just get channeled to some political apparatus or whatnot.
The term neocolonialism has come up. Does anyone want to attempt kind of defining it so that we kind of are on a similar page as to what it might be?
I don't know. I was thinking about how to describe it. I feel like someone might be better than me, but you could just call it colonialism. But I suppose it is colonialism past the point of like false post-colonial Does that make sense?
False post-colonialism.
Yeah, so as in like, or like overt colonialism.
I think I
Maybe.
mean like
Does that
the
make sense?
idea that like we're post-colonialism.
Well,
We're not, no.
Because it's administrative.
Yeah.
It hasn't like,
We
yeah,
haven't
there is
progressed.
no, but there's like a mythical ending. And yeah, but how neo-colonialism, like what actual physical things people are talking about? They're talking about things that aren't like a country, but a state, like a British state going somewhere and officially, like something that would be used officially colonizing somewhere. It's like sneaky underhand colonization. So that through like business, like through extraction and mining companies. Yeah, and so that is often what we're talking about when we say neo-colonialism. It's that like underhand, but yeah, it's the underhand colonial tactics, which is a new thing because before it has been later you call it neo-colonial because before it was far more. It's still very overt, but far more overt in the sense of like being visible. Yeah, so it's very invisible now, and yeah, takes the form of mining and agriculture and things like that, where people are not actually owning their own land, the land is being owned by or the US, which is a yeah.
Yeah, I think an example I've like done a lot of reading about Wretched and know about it like as a Colombian person was like Guajira. Guajira. What Guajira?
No, I don't know specifically about Guajira, but like neocolonialism in Latin America and Africa and the global south is a very like living thing. Like it's daily. Like so if you have family in the global south, they will be affected in a way or another. In Colombia specifically, UK has at least 26 projects. They back up 26 projects in Colombia only. So money from here, funds to be under opening mining is the usual and more terrible to do. And specifically in the Guajira,
It's like one of like the biggest black communities at the time that managed to be runaway slaves came over on acres and stuff, and they managed to preserve their own cultures. And the UK came, and the US almost everything, and just taken over,
yeah.
destroyed them.
In the case of the Guajira, it has layers after layers because it's not only the neocolonialism coming from UK to Colombia, but it's the neocolonialism and racism in Colombia itself. This little town called